Vernon Swaback is a gifted architect, community planner, author, artist, philosopher, and business owner. His talents are in demand by clients and communities around the globe. From a very early age, Vern had a vision of where he wanted his life to go.
I wanted to find Frank Lloyd Wright. I wanted to study with him. It was like dreaming of Brigadoon.
But fate and tenacity would play an important hand.
In 1956, the original Mayor Daley had Frank Lloyd Wright Day for the city of Chicago. I sent a letter to Frank Lloyd Wright asking if I could be interviewed by him, which I had learned that was how it was done. I mailed the letter at about 10 o'clock at noon. I called him saying, thought the letter would probably get lost and I didn't want to take that chance.
Obviously, Wright, who was 88 at the time, saw great potential in the 17-year-old Swaback.
We met in Frank Lloyd Wright's study with my mother on one side, my father on the other. And his first question was, why do you want to leave the university? And I said, well, they're beginning to teach preconceived ideas. At that point, he turned to my mother and then to my father and said, where does he get it? From you or from you? Quietly, I kind of thought, I think my life has been changed.
Wright sent the young Swaback out to Taliesin West in the remote Sonoran Desert.
I felt I was finally getting to Brigadoon. It was otherworldly, magical.
For nearly 3 years, Vern worked at the side of the master.
Frank Lloyd Wright, at the closest relationship, was just the genuine article. At night, I would make renderings of his buildings, and I would take them to him, and he would work over them, and he really loved that. And I was very prematurely given a desk right by his, where I did renderings for his books.
Vern inherited his lifelong appreciation of organic architecture during his time with Wright.
He spoke of organic architecture. He talked about learning from the one great book of nature. And what we know today as sustainable design, green, and smart development really stems back to what he was all about from day one.
After Wright's death in 1959, Vern continued to live and work at Taliesin West. He built a reputation as a first-class architect, designer, artist, and teacher.
When I left, it was not for opportunity. It was not to go do something that I hadn't been doing. I loved what I was doing. I just felt that I had to leave, that it almost had become too comfortable. And that was 30 years ago. And just little by little, we've become a multi-discipline firm. Been very, very blessed to have exceptional people and exceptional clients. We're sort of daily reinventing what it means to be an architect.
Although his creative and environmentally sensitive designs can be seen and experienced throughout the valley, nation, and world, Vern's impact is greatest in Scottsdale.
His fingerprints are everywhere in Scottsdale.
He was the consultant to help us as citizens develop a vision for Scottsdale.
We were at a critical time in Scottsdale's history. The mountains had been set aside, the freeway planning was in place, but our downtown was really still struggling. And how were we going to really plan a community that would be vibrant and vital in the valley? And we talked about bringing in some of the best minds in the country. But we realized that here in Scottsdale, we had the very best asset that we could find anywhere, and that was Vernon Swaback.
If you go back and look at that vision report, which in effect Vern co-authored, you'll see that it's right on target with what has happened in Scottsdale.
Vern thinks way beyond the drafting table. He has shared his concepts, insights, and Wright-inspired philosophies through 5 coffee table books.
Vern wrote an important book called Designing the Future, and it has a lot to do with Scottsdale. And I thought that what the first page said was really profound. Preserving our desert heritage while creating a great desert city are two sides of an inseparable quest. The choice before us, he said, is to excel in both or to end up with neither.
Despite the rigors of running a business, serving his clients, and writing books, Vern always makes time for community involvement.
I'm a vice president of what is called the Cattle Track Arts and Preservation. And it is just part of the real culture of Scottsdale, sort of like old, original Scottsdale.
A true Renaissance man, Vern has a bit of a wild side.
Something that people might not know is I was also part of a rock band, which we had at Taliesin for a while.
But of course, the most important thing he learned at Taliesin is his love of the Sonoran Desert.
I think Vern's most proud of, in terms of his achievements, is the work that he has done in the environment, and most specifically the emphasis on the McNally Sonoran Preserve. He is an unsung hero as far as I'm concerned in terms of the establishment of that preserve.
When I was sleeping in a little tent in a mainly open desert, I would have had a hard time imagining that sometime that I would have a hand in 8,000 acres to one side, which was DC Ranch, and on the other side we did the general plan for Fountain Hills, and then the various buildings around the community, and then Scottsdale Visioning. It would have been far beyond my imagination, and I just feel that, blessed by that. You know?
He's truly a visionary.
Vern has this unique ability to listen, incorporate, and then take that person and that person's thought with them to this higher plane that Vern always operates on. That's the genius, I think, of Vernon Swaback.
Frank Lloyd Wright once told me, when they call you a genius, don't believe them. And I think what he was saying is stay simple, remain an amateur. By that he meant keep loving what you're doing and doing it for that reason, not for any other reason, and things will turn out well.